This video is brought to you by StoneAgeGamer.com, a fantastic site for retro games, systems, accessories, and more. Be sure to check out StoneAgeGamer.com. Skip it up and that up. So first off, I want to give a shout out to Midnight City for sending me a review copy of Double Dragon Neon for the PC. I've played this game before. It's a good game. It's hard as shit. I can't get past the second boss. I had 7 lives going into him. It's that Skeletor dude. Maybe the first level boss, second level boss feels like the second level. And he hands me my ass. I've looked at playthroughs on YouTube. People are getting their asses kicked on there too. They beat him, but like barely. So I don't know. I mean, it's a good game. The hit detection's good. It's hard as shit. So if you're in for a brutally painful, ridiculously insane challenge, I recommend this game. And it does have the old school feel to it. I love the music too. But it is tough as rock hard titties, man. I'm warning you now. So I'm going to give a shout out to a place I never thought I would shout out. DualShockers.com. I wasn't even going to use an article for this video. I was just going to talk about the multiplayer aspect of the Order 1886. But they had some other interesting stuff in this article. So Giuseppe, I know you're my biggest fan and going to give you guys a shout out. Whatever, I give credit where credit's due. I could put differences aside. But anyway, so Ready at Dawn, founder and chief technology officer, Andrea Pacino, okay, he was talking about, he was clearing the air on the Order 1886 because there's been a whole bunch of drama with the multiplayer. The first thing he talks about is how they want to use anti-aliasing, and they could get the game to run at 1080p without it, but to get it with the 4 times MSAA, they got to knock it down to like 1080 by 800. I've beaten to death the whole resolution thing. I've explained to you why it concerns me, and it's not about the graphics. I'm not that horse corpse is rotten with maggots in it. I've beaten it to death multiple times and beaten it after it's dead 1,000 more times. Moving on from the resolution. But the interesting thing is that he talked about multiplayer, okay? And because he saw the shitstorm coming, this is what he had to say. He goes on to say, correct, no multiplayer. It is a single-player, third-person, action-adventure game. He writes a nice little smiley face. Better to do one thing well than a whole bunch half-assed. We are trying to make a single-player experience you will enjoy. Keywords, excuse me. Half-assed, they don't want to do it half-assed, and give a single-player experience you will enjoy. And you know what? Fucking bravo to him for doing that, man. God damn it. You know, it's so funny. I was seeing a whole bunch of videos. People are going apeshit over this. They're so mad there's no multiplayer in this game. They wanted it to be like co-op because I saw the same trailer you guys did. They had the 4 dudes like, oh man, it would have looked like it would have been great co-op, but now they're dropping the ball on co-op. I don't understand why they're doing that. This is their artistic vision. They saw the game as a single-player game. This is the direction they want to take it. This is what they're passionate about with the game. Last generation, I remember so many people complaining they always have to tack on multiplayer. Why do they always tack on multiplayer? I don't understand it. And then you guys, when the games don't have multiplayer, you bitch about it. The one thing I will say is in the 7th generation, some of the best experiences I had were games that were, whether the multiplayer was crap and it wasn't meant to be a multiplayer game where it was single player only, the single player games were the best experiences I had. God of War 3, Castlevania, Lords of Shadow, Uncharted 2, the single player. The multiplayer in that was okay, but I played mostly the single player in that. I beat that. BioShock 1, BioShock Infinite. All these games were single player games, and I'll tell you something, man. I spent the full price on all of them, and I felt like I got my money's worth out of them. Okay, I didn't need to go back and go online with multiplayer. I mean, who's playing God of War Ascension online right now? And I'm sure there's probably a handful of people, but really, even though Max Payne 3, the multiplayer was pretty good on that. I go on PC sometimes to find a match. It's a ghost town in there. Not every game needs multiplayer. And the problem with it is when they do try to tack on multiplayer, you're taking away resources from the main experience, which is the single player experience. And that could suffer too, because the developers feel pressured to put out a multiplayer aspect of all their games because of shit like this. Because the consumer flips out when there isn't a multiplayer experience in the game. Look, guys, I get it. I buy games too. They're expensive, and you want to squeeze every dollar out of that purchase, that investment that you make. But there's just some games. Look, man, I'm an OG. I'm old school. I'm 32. Okay, maybe that's why I'm looking at this differently. But there's just sometimes a game just doesn't fucking need multiplayer. They just need to make a really good single player experience. And for me, if the Order 1886 is like a 20+ hour game, like 18 to 20 hours or a little more, I'll feel satisfied. That to me is a long, healthy experience. And if they never add on any multiplayer aspect, and I hope they don't feel pressure to now, I'll be happy with it. Because I want them to make what they envisioned. I don't want them to feel pressured by the publisher or some suits at their office that think they'll make more money by multiplayer. I want what they originally envisioned and intended the game to be, because if they're passionate about it and they don't feel pressured to do other things with the game, you will get the best experience. All right, guys, make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting Review Tech USA. Have a good one.